on Fox Sports 910. We'll get to the top stories. Of course, first one being is the Cardinals and losing to the Commanders 20-16. A game that I think a lot of Cardinal fans maybe take away as, hey, they looked like a football team. They played well. They had a lot of excitement. They were very physical. You could question the penalties. You could question some of the play calling, but you got to give the defense a lot of credit for stepping up. But at the end of the day, you're watching this game. If you're watching at your bar and your man cave or whatever, like me at the bar, all of us said these are two bad football teams. Just two bad football teams. But they looked a lot better than I thought. I lost my ass on the 7.5. I won the under. But I thought the Commanders were going to come in and win this game by at least 2 touchdowns.
I got to tell you what, even a guy that's only played, one game in Sam Howell, you kind of go, well, okay, he's a young guy. You got Josh Dobbs as a young guy. Those two going at it. Defensively, I think both these teams, as far as the defense was concerned, and the physicality, to your point, Rock, that we saw in defense, that was good. Couple of bad penalties. Kazir White, in reference to his scenario of that late hit, setting the tone that we're not gonna take it anymore, and that kind of thing. I kind of laugh, but offensive wise, I think as far as Josh Dobbs, I think his second quarter was probably his best quarter for the entire game. But I got to tell you, folks, what do you expect when you bring a guy in? He knows the plays, but there's no chemistry. There's not a lot there in reference to some of the timing or lack thereof that we saw with this offense.
Let me fire this at you then, since you're discussing that aspect of it. And that's the way that I felt about the game as well. You being a former QB, and you just referenced the fact, no real live bullets, so to speak, because they acquired them after game 3 of the preseason. How difficult, and I don't care how seasoned a quarterback you are, how difficult is that for Josh Dobbs, even though he might be the smartest guy on the planet, to make that adjustment?
Well, see Joe Burrow. How did he do yesterday?
Yeah, exactly.
He was out the entire preseason with the calf.
He was.
What did he throw for 82 yards?
Good point.
Did you see his lack of chemistry, his lack of timing? And he's one of the best in the National Football League, right? So you look at something like that and you kind of go, okay, I can see where Josh Dobbs, who hasn't had nearly a tenth of the reps that you see with Joe Burrow and some of the other quarterbacks out there. Look at all the young guys,
right?
The 4 young guys that played yesterday. I thought Richardson, probably out of all the rookies that started, probably had the best game. Struggled with timing, receivers. But yeah, Josh Dobbs, he come in with only 2.5 weeks, if that, to work out the timing, behind throws, low throws. I felt he's more comfortable, and they'll probably do a lot of this for the Giants, you guys, is roll him out more, look a little more comfortable on the run, because his timing wasn't there. The reads weren't there. And you might know everything to the nth degree about the offense and the system, but as far as producing in real games,
right?
Not so much preseason games, in real games, is extremely difficult.
I thought we were going to see him push the ball a little bit deeper.
I did too.
Average 4.4 yards per attempt, which is just shows that he had a challenge trying to push the ball down. I wish he would have went for it a few more times. That would have been nice, but I just don't think the Cardinals have the playmakers on offense.
You know what?
Connor can only do so much.
Yeah, and would he touch it 19 total times, 5 receptions, 13 runs? I thought he should have touched it more.
I thought he should have carried it.
How can
25.
you can't get. I mean,
he couldn't get going.
You get to the point where you can't run. That's all you got.
The only ball he really threw down the field was that little wheel route up the sideline to Rondale Moore, and he tried to hit Zach Ertz in the end zone, a little high. That would have been a really tough catch. But that's about the only times they pushed the ball down the field. Rock, to your point, they had slants. He tried to dig route at the very end of the game, but it was into coverage. 4th and 15. He's just desperate to make a throw. But yeah, I would agree, Rock, with Hollywood Brown and Moore and Wilson, and Dortch is not that fast. I would look to take a couple shots. Go max protect. Get Hollywood Brown out on the outside of man-to-man coverage, even zone, just to kind of loosen them up. And maybe you complete it, maybe you don't.
And then on the defensive side, they came to play. They were physical. You could question White's hit, out of bounds, which everybody talked about, but I kind of got that defense going. 6 sacks, 3 turnovers. You got a touchdown on defense. They came to play. I thought the defense looked good, and that's an area where I didn't know what to expect. But then again, that's Jonathan Cannon.
All right. So where do you rank Zaven Collins' performance?
Best yet.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
he was
say,
involved. What,
yeah,
two of the three? What, two of those turnovers he was
Right,
involved in.
right. It was his best tackling wise, being around the ball, the turnovers. I thought Dennis Gardeck had his best game
he had
ever.
two
He had a
sacks.
great
Two
game.
sacks. He caused a fumble.
6 different players registered a pass
Yeah,
deflect.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the aggressive. I love seeing that aggressive nature, that physicality from this defense. And, to your point, Rock, White has that personal foul on the sideline, gives, Sam Howell a little love tap, if you will, out of bounds. But it's kind of like the one thing about that, it was in the Commodores were in their own territory. Now, if that had been.
You mean the Commanders?
I'm sorry, Commodores, yeah. Yeah, I won't go down that road. Anyways,
Okay.
so.
You've probably done that 10 times.
Yeah, you probably have.
Hard not to.
Here's the thing. And if that had been in Cardinal plus territory, he wouldn't have done that. I think he did that in their own territory. It was on the 20, 25.
Yeah, it was.
Otherwise, he's smarter than that. But Kazir White, man, he's all over the place. I love his leadership. And, you saw a little more accountability jawing on the sideline from guys. I love seeing that as opposed to the last 4 years where there's kind of guys that go over to the sideline and there wasn't even much communication at all.
Right.
So moving ahead, Cardinals will have the New York Giants. Cardinals plus 4.5, over under at 38.5. We'll dive into that a little bit more when we catch up with Casey